conversation, we were talking about some of the historical snubs from the Oscars, especially for African American nominees or just artists who should have been nominated or even considered that weren't. But we left off on the cliffhanger of, was One Battle After Another a DEI win for Best Picture, Best Director, or was it a snub for Sinners?
I don't think it was. I don't think that Sinners was snubbed. Mm-hmm. I just don't.
Yeah.
I think the competition was a lot more fierce than it has been previously. And we go through cinema history, and you've got some years in there where competition is extremely fierce, and you have years in there where the competition is not fierce at all.
Right.
So, for example, the year that Al Pacino won the Oscar for Scent of a Woman over Denzel Washington in Malcolm X, that was a snub.
Yeah.
Al Pacino is an extraordinary actor.
Mm-hmm.
But that year, that movie, Scent of a Woman, did not beat Malcolm X and Denzel Washington. It didn't even come close. Mm-hmm. And so you see this pattern repeated again and again throughout Oscar history. Mm-hmm. And then that brings us to this moment in 2026 when, we have these giants. Mm-hmm. You have Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan up against
Paul Thomas Anderson
and DiCaprio in One Battle After Another. Mm-hmm. And so in order to break down these two, we would just have to go round for round to just break them down and see if that Best Picture was justifiably given to One Battle After Another.
Mm. Well, and one point that I think is important too is One Battle After Another is more of an ensemble cast. It's diverse. You have Leonardo DiCaprio, you have Benicio del Toro, you have Tiana Taylor, you have Sean Penn. It's a much bigger cast overall than Sinners. Like Sinners is largely carried by Michael B. Jordan. And there are some other names, like Delroy Lindo, absolutely, was phenomenal in his role. But as far as like rounding out the cast, like One Battle After Another took a much larger cast to tell its story, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know that in some ways, because you've got in Sinners, you've got Michael B. Jordan, and you have Delroy Lindo, you have Haley Steinfeld, you've got Wumi. Mm-hmm. Who else is in there?
I don't know any other of the bigger names that are in the movie.
Well, you've got Cornbread, and I can't remember his name. But these guys, they all showed up for work.
Yeah.
But if you're just going to go bench for bench, you've got over there on the One Battle After Another side, you've got Benicio del Toro, you've got Regina
Hall, I forgot about her. I
love
Regina
her. Hall. You've got Sean Penn. You've got Leonardo DiCaprio. You've got Tiana.
Chase Infinity.
You've got Chase Infinity. It does seem like their bench runs a little deeper.
Yeah.
And that's not to understate the talent that's in Sinners either.
No, not at all.
But their bench does run a little deeper over there. Mm-hmm. And then you've got the complexity of both stories.
Yeah.
Okay? You've got in Sinners, you're dealing with the crisis in Black America, in African American culture. In One Battle After Another, you're dealing with the crisis in American culture that also encompasses Black culture, because you have it represented in the persons of Chase Infinity, Tiana Taylor, and Regina
Hall. Morgan Chestnut was also in there.
Exactly. So the complexities of how this social breakdown is happening in One Battle After Another, African American culture is represented there. An immigrant culture is represented there. White culture is represented there. So it is an extremely complex, everybody is represented there. But also in Sinners, you have Asian Americans represented there. You have the Irish Americans represented there. You have African Americans represented there. And you do have
Native Americans.
The Native Americans represented there. But with One Battle After Another, they do take a deeper dive within those demographics, and they give you more of a personal look between the braiding of those cultures and the complexities of those cultures, which they do in Sinners. But to be fair, One Battle After Another goes a little deeper with it. And for example, what I mean by how they go a little deeper with it, the relationship between Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Tiana Taylor's character, Sean Penn's character, and Chase Infinity.
Yeah.
That melding together. Now, they do the same thing in Sinners with the twins and their relationship with the black and white girl and the black girl, and their relationships with the Asian community. But One Battle After Another does dive more into those personal connections.
Do you think One Battle After Another, like kind of an edge it had was that it was because it's in like present day, or like another version of present day, that it felt more relatable? Like things we're really seeing right now, like ICE raids and, I hate to say a feminist movement, but women's rights, just racism, like all of it, it made it like a smorgasbord in one movie where it put it all in there, and it was all like revolutionary, trying to, go against all of this. And it felt more relevant for today.
Yeah, what it did is, by making it in the present day and giving it that relevance, that the present moment relevance, what it does is, as a viewer, it creates that sense of urgency. Where with Sinners, if you're African American, you can wholly relate to what these characters are feeling and experiencing, especially if you have, a spirit of not willing to be conquered.
Right.
And you identify with these twins. There's different characters that are relatable for the women. But the difference is, with One Battle After Another, by it being set in the present day, with all of those relevant issues like that, it creates a sense of urgency that is not created in One Battle After Another.
You mean Sinners?
I'm sorry, Sinners. Now, that sense of urgency, if you're African American, you get that sense of urgency of the message, the crisis that African American culture is experiencing. There's a crisis and there's an urgency, and it's in the most artistic, creative way. He's saying, wake up. In the same sense that Spike Lee said it some 25, 30 years ago in Do the Right Thing, when he ended that movie with Samuel L. Jackson's character just yelling out, wake up.
Yeah.
This whole movie is an alarm saying, wake up.
Sinners.
And sinners, but as well as One Battle After Another is yelling, wake up. So is Begonia. All three of these movies are screaming at you to wake up. If you're, and if you don't hear them screaming it at you, it's probably because you're not awake.
Right.
But with comparing those two movies, One Battle After Another and Sinners, it does braid into the current moment, and it creates a different sense of urgency that encompasses a broader demographic. I think in order to be just and fair, you have really got to dive into these two movies, because this was like, the heavyweight fight.
Yeah. So where do you think that One Battle After Another edges out Sinners?
Well, I just told you.
Well,
the sense of urgency.
The sense of urgency
that it creates across a broader demographic.
Got it.
You see, with Sinners, that sense of urgency, it relates right back to African American culture. And he did an extraordinary job with relating that sense of urgency back to you, to wake up. Yeah. Are you clocked in? Are you paying attention? Both of these movies have that underlying theme of do not be defeated. Do not be defeated. And so you see that similarity, that thread of similarity between Wumi's character and Tiana's character in One Battle After Another. Two African American women that refuse to be defeated. Wumi's character decides she would rather have a natural death than become a vampire. Yeah. That is a prison. She sees it wholly for what it is, and so she will not be defeated by it, by that false promise of eternity.
Yeah.
As that is how she sees it. And as well with Tiana's character, these women will not be defeated. And so in this theme of not being defeated, it underpins both movies. The difference is One Battle After Another pushes that wake-up call a little bit more on a broader American demographic, because it is ringing the alarm of the crisis in America.
Yeah, it's hitting so many different issues that are pain points for America right now, like immigration, citizenship, women's rights, just racism, just basic rights to be able to protest. Like, all of those are being hit. To me, I thought Sinners was extraordinary. It was really creative. I really loved it. But to me, it was still entertainment. You know what I mean? Like, it was great out. I'll watch it multiple times. But One Battle After Another felt like a warning. And like you were saying, like the sense of urgency, like, oh shit, we need to be paying closer attention to everything.
And just on those, if we'd have to score them both on a 100-point system, I would say One Battle After Another may have hit the 100-point mark, and Sinners hit 98.
Yeah, I was gonna say it would be that close.
It was close. Sinners is at 98, 99, and One Battle After Another is at 99, 100. It was too close to, almost call, if you are not in the filmmaking business, if you don't understand script writing and production and themes and subtext, and if you do not know these things, then it's very easy to get upset and distracted by the history of the Oscars.
Right. I didn't even understand the comment a DEI win. Like for One Battle After Another, I was like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Well, that's why in the past, in the previous podcast, that's why I intentionally went through the history of Oscar snubs, because now we're at a point where, in my opinion, I think for the first time, this was a fair fight. Okay, and Oscars didn't quite, the Sinners didn't quite make it to beat One Battle After Another. But I do think it was a fair fight for one of the first times in Oscar history. I think we are in a whole new era now. And the thing is, African American culture is so punch drunk with these snubs. Right. It's very easy to get distracted and look at the history of the Oscars and not just weigh these two films pound for pound and see that One Battle After Another edged it out. It's, I mean, the best part of the whole Oscar night to me is that I can look in Ryan's eyes and see he's just getting started.
Right.
He's
got so much potential, and he keeps getting better.
Yeah, this guy is getting better at a geometric rate.
Right.
And so, everybody that's upset about he didn't win this one. I doubt that he's upset.
Right. It's inevitable that he's going to get one. He's like a Spielberg or a Scorsese. You just know it's coming.
Yeah. He's like Spielberg in 1984. Right. He's like Spielberg before Schindler's List. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He has not penned his Schindler's List.
Right.
I mean, to be where he's at right now with Sinners, he's well ahead of his own curve.
Right.
This guy is just getting started.
Right.
And he's not looking back at Oscar history and looking down at his win. Mm-hmm. That's for the people who don't put in the hard work and the staying up all nights writing and rewriting and writing and rewriting.
Right. Well, I think too, one important thing that I think it was one of the interviews before the Oscars was that Ryan declined becoming a voting member of the Academy because he doesn't want to judge anyone else's work.
Now, that's an interesting point now that you bring that up. Because that can be viewed as a backhanded thing. Mm-hmm. Now, it's like Timothée Chalamet's comment about the opera and the ballet. It is very insulting to the people that dedicate their lives to opera and ballet, and for him to be a creative and to be so accomplished at such a young age that he would vomit out that level of immaturity and not have the insight to hold his tongue. It's like you kind of expected a little bit higher intuition from him at that point. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think it's going to end his career, but, obviously because he's extremely talented, but I do think it had an effect on the way Marty Supreme played out in the Oscars. I find it hard to believe that it didn't have an effect. Now, the thing is with Ryan Coogler's comment, it's in that same vein, but it's not as severe. Is you have to look at it like this. It is what he said was noble. He doesn't want to judge his peers' work. Okay. But at the same time, what that does is that applies an insult to those that do judge the work. And what it does is he's presented with the opportunity to look back over Oscar history and say, I'm in a position with my creativity and my intuition and my insight, and I can judge and make sure that my culture and the men and the women that look like me are fully represented with a young voice from my generation. So when he was asked to participate in the judging, I think that is the sign of an evolution of the Oscars. And maybe he wasn't ready to see it that way, because what he did say, it did have nobility attached to it.
Yeah.
But on the whole, I personally think it was a bad call for him to step back. He was supposed to take that position and be honored, because that puts him in a position to make sure that Black talent, that African American talent, is spoken for. For those that may be on that committee that are older, but they're African American, because sometimes you may have a communication that's lost through the generations. You know, you have Denzel, which is now 70. He is going to see the world through a different lens than a 40-year-old or a African American man that's his son's age. Now, Denzel, that's not a slight at him. Denzel is transcendent, and that's assuming that he's a voting member. But at the same time, that's a very powerful position for Ryan to be in, because he can make sure that those snubs are fewer and far between. He can speak up, and his talent is proven and it's respected. And now he would be part of a peerage that will pause and listen to him and say, wow, we didn't see that the way you saw that, Ryan. I might have to readjust my vote. I see what you're saying. You see my point? So I do think that, you know, it's that you know, Stan Lee said it best: with great power comes great responsibility. And so in a sense, Ryan accepts the power of the position that he's now in as an African American creative. But the responsibility of it is to make sure your demographic has your voice in that closed door, behind that closed door, that they're fully represented. That's the responsibility of the position that he's earned.
Like, make sure you're widening the wake behind you for more people to come in.
Exactly.